there are truths that people hold that are fallacies, that are false, but we all believe them to be truth because it's what we've been told for so long. Once upon a time, a very large contingency of people believed the earth was flat and you could sail to the edge and fall off. And then they found out otherwise. Welcome to the No Filter Podcast. How's everyone doing this evening?
Good.
I mean, I'm over the unsolved mysteries intro, but I'm good.
Is that your TV move?
My TV, what?
I heard background noise. Yeah. Self-respect.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That was like, fuck us. We ain't shit.
Mookie said, fuck y'all.
Oh, man. That's how you feel, bro?
I wasn't joking.
He said, fuck y'all. I'll turn on the subtitles and still watch it.
No, I know you wasn't joking.
About what? What I miss?
Mookie doesn't want to participate right now because it's 72 hours after the fact. At any rate, so today we are going to discuss the long-held belief surrounding the gender wage gap. A little bit of backstory here. Good Vinicus, once upon a time, attempted to convince me that the patriarchy is evil and all things about the patriarchy need to be ripped from asunder and torn down and rebuilt anew. And I just don't be buying it. That's just where I'd be at. That's just me. And he is a staunch believer in some things, and we were sharing not necessarily points of views, but information with one another. So we're gonna have this dialogue for y'all. Basically, that's really the case. So with no further ado, I'm gonna toss it to the Vinny so you can expound. See, because I cannot properly articulate the fallacy of the belief.
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna need you to stop calling it a fallacy because it's a fact. What you believe and your feelings on the subject is not a fact. A fact is, in 2020, women earned 83 cents to every dollar earned by men. That is a fact.
That's false.
How can it be false if it's a fucking fact?
Why are you screaming?
I don't mean to be screaming. I'm sorry. You know me, man. I'm Puerto Rican. I get passionate and shit. I'm sorry. Like there is no anger. It's just passion. I promise you. There's zero anger coming from this side of the podcast tonight. It's all like I just want to have a passionate debate. And if you raise your voice, I'm not going to consider you yelling at me. We just both being passionate about what we think or what we know.
See, for this conversation, right? I'm not going to raise my voice, right? My argument is irrefutable, and that's the reason I'm not going to raise my voice at all. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to let you say whatever it is you believe, and I'm simply going to disprove it. Like that's really what's going to happen. I'm not like this isn't I don't really have a dog in the fight per se. So
I actually look. I researched a little bit on this one, so I might actually have some preparation for you.
I mean,
because I don't have the memory. I don't have the steel trap memory you do. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So you're the commonly held belief about the 83 cents on the dollar is empirically false, right? Like the tally that was taken was from it was years ago, number one, and like so it's not a commonly held thing, and the reason it's not as common as people tend to quote it as is it's talking solely about gender. And when you're taking the numbers, you're taking the numbers from the entirety of the workforce and not accounting for occupation, tenure, experience, or like job titles. You're not accounting for a lot of things in that number. So it's not, so that number doesn't transfer across each individual profession. That's why it's that has been widely debunked already.
Okay, if you're debunking things, then I'm going to need you to debunk micro versus macro on this one, because that's very important in this discussion. Because I feel like you're going more micro than macro, and I'm not here for that. I'm here for the macro.
No, I'm gonna macro the entire conversation, and like I'm never gonna break it. I'm never gonna go anywhere less than mezzo. Just so you're fully aware, right?
Okay.
This is never gonna be a one person did this or a one person did that, because you know there are always outliers, and I'm never gonna do that. But
Will you do me a favor personally?
what's up?
Define mezzo so nobody thinks we're talking about mesothelioma.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Not
I
even
had to do it.
bother. They can look it up.
Yeah.
So the number that you have, right? And
Yep.
Understand that the number that you have is false.
How is it false?
No, just
I'm just asking.
Listen, your statement was that women make 83 cents to every $1 a man makes.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are more women than men across the board. So when that number was taken, it is also including very low paying jobs that women decided to take as part-time employees. And that number does not span across the racial gap, because Black women would have another argument. And when you
I concur. I concur. I will concede to that point. Absolutely.
When you add that number into all things across the board, that it makes the number false. Because now you're saying, okay, women make 83 cents to every $1 that a man makes. No, that's not accurate at all. You take a working man making a salary, you take a working woman making a salary, they have equal pay if they have equal time and equal ability. The problem is they typically don't have equal time and equal ability, because it doesn't account for the women who decide, I want to take years off and raise a family. They shouldn't be penalized for that, but that is something that has to be accounted for. And it's not being accounted for in the number. When you're saying the number, you're simply saying the number like it's a statement of fact. That number isn't a statement of fact, because if you take a woman who hasn't had any time off to have children, and she has 0 children, she's available, she typically will end up getting paid more in certain fields because they're trying to incentivize women coming into that field. So it doesn't account for fields. It doesn't account for the nature of jobs. Like, you don't see many women construction workers. You don't see many women like welders. You don't see women out here on fucking like oil rigs.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there are several I follow on different social media platforms.
Okay,
Like I see them.
no, okay, listen, that's you microing. Macro, they are less than 5 to 10% of the entirety of the field.
I'm gonna look that fact up. Go ahead. Please continue.
Go for it.
Say something, Vinny. Um. Okay, so yes, there might be some, and there might be those few that are working in those fields that are probably even getting paid more than a guy that's working there. Who's to say? It's like they say. It really, to me, it really depends what kind of field. Because if you go into the hospital, you think a female is gonna make more than a male nurse, or is the male nurse gonna make more than the female nurse? To me, it's more on the experience and who the person is.
I understand that. And by the way, I have to concede to your point because I looked it up and you're right. Welders are about 5% of the females workforce.
Yeah, I'm absolutely aware. That's why I said I'm not gonna raise my voice. I'm just gonna debunk. Like, this is gonna be the platform, so you can say all of the myths that you believe support your argument. I'm simply gonna debunk them one at a time. I'm not gonna go back and forth because my facts are irrefutable. That's kind of my point. That's why I said, that's why when we were having the conversation and I'm like, yo, just calm down because you're not listening. Like, that's what I'm telling you, like, it's a fallacy. It's a commonly held belief that has no basis in reality at all. It was something that was used once upon a time by the women's lib movement and feminism to galvanize women behind them, but that's the numbers themselves are all false. Like, it's not true at all. Like, because if you take say you take STEM and you look at the highest paid people in STEM, but women don't go into STEM. So how do you do that? Like, STEM is important for the infrastructure. These people get paid, outlandishly, but women aren't in that field. So the highest field that women go into versus the highest field men go into, men are typically in more of the STEM positions, more of the infrastructure positions. Obviously, when you're just saying if apples to apples, like, okay, yeah, they get paid by and large more because they are in the harder careers. They're in the more important careers. It's like a woman who's a school teacher typically will want to stay a school teacher. She unlikely wants to go the admin route. So when you start tallying teachers, you're taking the entirety of education. So there's 100,000 teachers on this chart, and by and large, the majority of teachers are women. So the number is going to seem low because they stretch throughout quite a bit. But those men who are in the same positions, they're going to be infinitely less men, and they're going to get paid better. Why are they going to get paid better? Because they took admin positions. They became principals and vice principals. Because the few men who went into the field didn't mind coming out of the classroom. They didn't gain an attachment to the teacher aspect of it. They became administrators. So even when you start looking at individual occupations, it's simply not true. Because the principal of a school is obviously going to get paid better than the most tenured teacher at the damn school. He's the principal. And if she happens to be the principal, she's going to get paid on par with other principals.
I mean, I understand you breaking it down to individual professions and the like, but I do not subscribe to your theory, and I'm not fully convinced that that's the way it is, because there is the word you like to use, data.
Empirical data.
Thank you. Data that states that women actually do get paid less than men in most professional fields.
Okay.
It's just a fact.
No, listen, right? That's not a fact. That's not what the numbers actually say.
I literally looked up the US Census report, and that's what the number said.
No, you're not listening. That's not what the numbers actually say. What the numbers are saying is from the groups polled, these people make this. These people make this. So men who have less numbers, they're getting, so if the top 100,000 people all make equal pay, right? Just a simple math problem. All of the top 100,000 have an equal pay across the board, but there are more women. So you add another 50,000 women who get paid under what those top people get paid. What does that do to the data?
Okay, yeah, you're right. It would skew the data, but
that's what you're arguing.
But you can't start facts with if.
I'm not. Listen, that's
like
not.
You are saying if this happens, then that happens.
Listen. I'm asking if because it's a math problem and we're not using the actual numbers. That's a fact. There are more women in those smaller paying jobs than there are men, which skews the data. Men, by and large, do not go into retail. Men, by and large, do not go into the cleaning services.
No, that's not
by and large. I did not say none.
Because I'm gonna say I worked for several retail establishments, and most of those retail establishments that I worked for, the men were just in different departments.
Okay,
so it was like you had.
Listen to your numbers. I want you, before you even go down this road, if you were on the floor, for every one man on the floor, how many women work the registers? Because that is retail.
That's not accurate to me, because everybody can run a register when you work retail.
I didn't say who can run a register. If you were on the floor, because when you walk into a grocery store, typically who's at the register? Part-time female employees or full-time female employees. As a man, when you work in that same grocery store, you may end up on a register, but likely you are in a department somewhere. The table of organization will probably have 25% men, 75% women, because women are okay with settling for the part-time job. That's more the issue. So, and then you add the racial factor, because it's more of a like there's definitely a racial pay gap, but it's not a gender. And that's what I was telling you before. It's not a gender pay gap. That's not true. Because if there was a gender pay gap, just imagine you are the starter of a company. You are beginning to start a company. Your goal here is to make a profit. Why would you hire men if you have to pay them more than you could pay the fucking comparable woman? Everyone would just staff women if they could fucking pay them 83 cents on the dollar, because the goal of business is to make money. that kind of like, do you understand the logic of that?
I mean, I understand your logic. I can't agree. No. It is
my logic, though. That's not my. What is the goal of business, Vinny?
The goal of business is to make money, but you're just going too far away from what we're actually discussing to say things.
We're talking about the gender pay gap.
You got the
fallacy of the gender pay gap. Listen to what I'm saying.
Let me talk.
No, you're not answering my question. Answer the actual question. If you were a business owner and you could staff your entire staff of people with someone who you only have to pay 83 cents to every possible dollar, who would you hire?
I mean, obviously, if you're a business owner, the smart choice is to hire the person who's 83 cents on the dollar.
And if you know that to be the smartest thing, these people who run these businesses know that as well. So if it was true, every business would be staffed by women.
Okay, so here's where my conflict theorist comes in. You are okay. Every business is not staffed by women for one simple reason: control. Absolute control.
Explain.
Okay, so if you hire men, okay, versus hiring women, excuse me. If you hire men versus hiring women, and you are claiming that you have to pay a whole dollar for a man. Matter of fact, let's just do it this way. Let's say you have to pay a man $100 a day. You only have to pay a woman $83 a day. Okay, let's say that. Then why? I mean, it doesn't that whole theory to me. Yeah, you would make money staffing more women, but why are so many more men employed, quote unquote, end quote? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. If that's the case, then
two-thirds of the working populace are women.
Okay.
So that means there are more women in the workforce than men. That's what it means. Listen to what I said. 2/3 of the working populace is women. What are you talking about?
I'm not sure anymore. Because I really like, no, I mean, like, really, at the end of the day, I mean,
Benny, just drop it.
No, because I feel like, well, okay, then I guess this has been the No Filter podcast.
No, listen.
I mean, shit, like, what? Do you not want to discuss it now?
No,
just drop it.
No, listen. This is that's why I said, like, this is a dialogue that a lot of people believe. And I'm cool with people's belief, and I typically don't have the conversation because they think I'm typically having the conversation from a place of malice. And I'm simply not having it from a place of malice. It's been debunked. I'm not lying to you. It's been debunked. There's been articles, scholarly articles, journals, you name it. These things that I'm regurgitating to you, I've read them in scholarly and academic journals. That you're talking about, you read someone's op-ed, and in their op-ed, they said this, and this, and they use these numbers to support their claim. Well, those are the same talking points that the feminist movement used to galvanize all women behind it. But they never talked about the racial gap. They didn't. That's like people say, well, Fortune 500 companies. Well, Fortune 500 companies is an exclusive club. What about the 440 companies? There are more women CEOs in those companies, and they make more money because they're incentivized to come work for those companies. That's just a statement of fact. It's like STEM. We can argue about STEM all day, but women don't go into STEM. And if just in case, look, this is one of the few things I'm actually going to say: science, technology, engineering, and math. That's what STEM means when I'm saying it. Most women don't go into those fields. And those are the fields that make the most money. So if those fields are dominated by men, it will appear for the top people who are earning something that more men are making more money. Okay, but they're in science, technology, engineering, math. They're fucking working on the infrastructure.
And why is it that more men go into that field?
Because women, by and large, want to have families and don't want to. By and large, listen, there are women in those fields. However, even the women who go into those fields still take time off to have family. So if you go into engineering, you graduate, you get with a firm, you're doing your thing for 2-3 years. You're 27, you understand the clock is ticking. You and your husband, y'all been running neck and neck. Y'all both make upwards of $250,000 a year. Y'all already got the house, y'all already got the cars. You want to have children because you want your legacy in your life to be fulfilled. You take 10 years off to have 3 or 4 kids. You are now 10 years behind your husband. When you come back to the field, you can't say because we graduated at the same time and because we had similar work experience 10 years ago, I'm now equal to him. There's been advances made. So you're not equal. And at that point, that is where women are having the conversation like, well, no, I should get paid the same. Well, how should you get paid the same? Even on a smaller scale, typically, like, oh, say we'll take like a janitor. We'll just use a janitor or some menial labor intensive job. I can pick up more. I can do more in less time simply based on strength. You don't get paid what I get paid. You shouldn't get paid what I get paid. That's a fact. That's a statement of fact. Like, that's not my opinion. When you look on the job qualification website and it's telling you a man should be able to pick up 75 pounds overhead and carry it for 30 minutes. When it's asking what a woman can pick up, it's saying 35 pounds. Why should this bitch get paid what I get paid?
Because it's fair.
No, okay, so it's fair that I have to do more labor intensive work and she gets equal pay. How is that fair?
Okay, if you and okay, I'm gonna bring this into a personal level just because it's fun and funny. You remember that night that I had a flat tire after I had lost all that weight?
I'm waiting. I just want to know how it's fair.
But do you remember
I do.
that incident?
I remember. Continue.
And I had to call somebody much larger than myself to help me change the tire because I had lost so much muscle mass that I was no longer able to actually turn the, what do you call that? The X thing, the
lug nuts,
the wrench, the actual wrench. I couldn't get the wrench to turn properly. I had to call you because you were the only big dude I knew that could come and turn the damn lug nut. I literally could not get it undone.
So why did you call a female?
Because wasn't no female coming out at that time of night. Like, I keep trying to tell people to use my actual friend. he's the person I call when I'm in trouble. So stop it. And that's supposed to be kind of fun, Vanessa. It was nothing against you. I'm sorry. But
I'm more like, okay, but you're saying a female can do this, and so, kind of thing.
Well, there's a female that I would have called if she had been around. Her name's Jessie, and she's a championship person who lifts heavy things. That's what she likes to refer to herself as. I would have called her, but she's not like somebody who I would call in that situation. I could call her. She would be at the same level.
Okay. Can you get back on track?
I'm trying to. So I'm sorry. Because it is like, this is supposed, I mean, I'm kind of having fun with this one. So anyway, moving along. But you and I both could have had a job at the exact same place, making the same amount of money, even though you're stronger. If I can do the job, like I had, medical things going on, blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter. But I could do the same job that you can do, like mentally. You feel me?
It doesn't require mental anything to do physical labor.
But physical labor would get paid less on the scale of just because it's physical labor.
See, now you're comparing apples to oranges. What I said was,
I'm not. I'm comparing.
Listen. What I said was apples to apples. So in your scenario, even though you went super micro, I would argue at that moment when if you can't get the tire off and we both work in the tire shop, when I go for my eval,
you're right about.
Right. When I go for my eval, I'm going to make it very clear that I do more work than you. And if I know what your pay is, I damn well better get paid more or I'm taking my services to South Beach.
Okay. South Beach. So, Mookie, it's okay to smile. It really is. I promise. It's supposed to be having fun out here. You don't even want to talk.
Somebody say something funny, I'll laugh.
Oh my God.
Something funny.
I can't stand you. Anyway, what I was getting at is two people can do the same job given the right tools.
Once again,
so if you take
you're-
group A, and I'm going there, okay? If you take group A and you take group B, and group A is not paid the same amount as group B, based on the fact that group A is stronger and just like physically better, okay? And I'm not saying that group A or group B are any specific gender, but I am saying that group A is a stronger group than group B. But group B gets more done because they have the proper tools to do the job. Should group B not be paid more than group A?
Number one, if group A and group B work at the same establishment, they will have access to the same tools. So if I can do more in less time, I should get paid more.
So what you're saying is
no matter which group I'm in. Because you're trying to, you're doing what the feminists did in using the information to prove your point, not actively reading what the information says. If there's a group A and a group B, the group A and group B have to work at the same place. That means we all have access to the same tools. If we're all supposed to be doing the same job, we have access to the same tools, but I turn out 50% more product than you. There's no fucking way you should get paid what I get paid.
Okay. If you are turning out 50% more product by not using the tools that you are given because you feel like you can do it in a different way.
We're not talking about feel. You see, you're feeling, don't feel that if you're going to put a hypothetical scenario on the table, all things have to be equal. Just to prove your point, you can't say if group A and group B both have access to the same tools and they're expected to perform the same job, and group B can outperform with all of the same tools and all of the same knowledge, simply based on the fact that this is a labor intensive job, I should be paid more if I'm in group B. That's just a fact. It doesn't make a difference how you can come up with a genius idea, but if you can't actually implement the idea, what the fuck does your idea mean? Oh yeah, you know how to put the lug wrench on the wheel. Yes, girl, but you can't spin it. So you can work at the shop. The fact that you can work at the shop means that if we all simply provided services at the establishment, we should be paid equally. But the moment we're talking about somebody has to drive the truck and go out in the middle of the night to perform services on the side of the road, fuck no, you ain't getting paid what I get paid. Because now I'm on call 24 hours a day. Now I'm the one out here on the side of the road taking tires off by hand. I don't give a fuck about them tools in the shop no more, because that's not the only requirement of the job. That's where your argument begins to fall apart.
You're not wrong, but I will say this. I still feel like just because you can lift a tire from the ground up, or a person, not you in particular, but just because a person can lift a tire from the ground up and doesn't have to use a tool to do that, doesn't mean that the person who uses the tool should get paid less.
Okay, let me put it to you like this. It requires you to use a piece of equipment that costs $5,000. With that equipment also comes time and fuel costs. It requires me body strength to pick up the same thing. Who should be paid more?
I think people, both persons or groups should be paid equally.
Okay.
And here's why.
No, wait. Why do you believe that the business, the company that had to pay out $5,000 for a tool for you to use when I don't need the tool? You can get another job because the company itself is going to say, well, if this costs $5,000 for this person to do this job, you know what? She's admin now. She can work in the fucking offices because I'm not paying $5,000 because I can pay this motherfucker another $2,500 on his yearly salary and never have to spend $5,000 for this tool that we have to maintain and refuel. Because that's a business decision. That's what that is. That's a business decision. Because now if I employ 10 women, I have to pay $50,000 to get those tools for those 10 women to do the same thing I can get those men to do for whatever I've already hired them for.
Okay, but we did say that in this scenario, Group A and Group B have access to the same tools, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You're still talking about time and fuel.
My turn.
But you're not answering the question. I said, why would the business make that decision?
The business already made the decision because everybody has access to the same tools. That's the thing. I'm saying if they both have access to the same tools and you or Group A or men or women that are strong, whatever the hell you want to say, have access to the same tools as Group B, and the tools are already there, and you choose not to use the tool, why should the woman be paid less for a job that you're choosing to do the way you want to do it?
Because the fact that she has to use consumable resources should be accounted for in her employment.
No, it's not, because they told you to do this job this way.
Stop. Wait, pause. The task of the job is to get the tire on the shelf. That's what the requirement is. The requirement you're talking about is putting something on a shelf. So if it requires her to use consumables and it does not require me to use consumables, I should get paid more or she should get paid less because she has to use consumables.
It's still your choice.
We're not talking choice. Stop. We're not talking about a choice. We're talking about business. The business itself has to account for the consumables being used. Maintenance and fuel cost money. Time is also a factor. So if I have to block off both sections of the aisle and put 2 people on either side of the aisle to ensure that no one comes up or down the aisle while this piece of equipment is being used, I'm now using 3 of my employees to get something done that 1 of my employees can get done, just based on time alone. If I can put 10 tires on the shelf in the amount of time you can put 5 on it with the tool, what are you talking about? That's a business decision. I no longer need her in my warehouse. She's a liability. Yeah, she's a liability. She's costing the company money.
Okay.
That's a business decision. Because what you're talking about morality and ethics and fairness and equality and equity. That's not the concern of any business. The business model is designed to make money. If I can put 10 tires on the shelf in the same amount of time it takes her to put 5, and it requires 3 other employees, what there's not a business. Hell no. They're like, you know what? All y'all females is getting moved to admin. Y'all all finna work in the office. Matter of fact, none of y'all are fully qualified to do what the fuck it is y'all said y'all could do. If you're strong enough to do what he's doing, then you get paid what he gets paid. But if you're not, you become a liability at some point. And because now you're talking about fuel costs, you're talking about now, so where I could cut my hours and possibly staff this establishment with 4 people, now I need 6 because 3 of y'all have to be in the back to load these fucking tires. Hell no. That's bad business.
Here's my problem with your argument. Okay. You are saying that the person who needs to perform necessary admin tasks is not as valuable as the person who is moving tires.
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is the person who needs to perform necessary admin tasks typically are not going to be paid in those type of environments, as well as the technicians that are in the back. The person who takes your information at the Jiffy Lube don't get paid nearly what them fucking certified mechanics get paid, and they shouldn't. That's a fact.
I would have been okay until you said that's a fact. But I digress.
That's certified mechanic who is changing your tires and changing out your oil, getting under your car, doing the oil filter, knowing the proper disposal of the oil. Look, you can know all of those things, but you are going to sit your ass up here at this desk and you're going to take this fucking money and run these credit cards, and you are not going to be paid like a mechanic because you're not a mechanic. And if you are
neither
a mechanic,
is anybody who works at Jiffy Lube, just so you know.
There are mechanics that work at Jiffy Lube because
you're right. There are, but not all of them are.
But there's at least two certified mechanics there to actually perform inspections. That's incorrect. There's always
Vanessa,
someone.
Can you let me be a little right, please? Damn.
No, because you're not right. You're not
okay,
right
so you believe you should be paid less than a man, right?
You haven't been right the whole time.
No, I haven't been right the whole time. That's right. But I am saying this, there's nothing wrong.
You know, deep throws these at you, these things at you, and you're just quiet. You can't say anything because you know he's right.
You know why I can't say anything? Right. Because he says, no, hold up. No, calm down.
Oh my God.
No, you know it's true. Go back and wait till we listen to the podcast tomorrow. Wait.
Oh, okay. Wait. No, I'm getting back on track, right? The fallacy of the wage gap does not account for, and let's just be really clear, it doesn't account for tenure, it doesn't account for positions held, it doesn't account for the amount of people in the workforce, it doesn't account for hours worked per week, it doesn't account for your education, it doesn't account for specific tasks assigned to you at an establishment. None of those things were factors when they took the numbers. So the numbers equal what you're saying. Yes, 80, the top woman and the top man equal, and then as you go down, there's this many people, everyone's equal, and then you add more women, that draws the number down. That's literally what it means. If 100% of the men make 100%, period, and then 100%, if they were equal, would make 100% of what the men are making, and then you add 25% more onto the bottom of the women, it's gonna bring the average down. That's how averages work.
Okay, let me present you with a hypothetical, 100% hypothetical scenario. Okay, I am going to start a business. In this business, I will be changing out windshields. Okay, there are 100 bays where I can change out windshields. All of them have the exact same tools. All of them are staffed by different genders at different levels of strength. Okay, I train all 100 people to do the job this way, using the equipment that I've bought due to safety restrictions, due to insurance restrictions, all of that. You decide that the handles that are used to guide the windshield onto the car are strong enough to hold the windshield, and that you can put the windshield in there by yourself. So now you're getting twice the amount of work done by breaking a rule. Because I didn't tell you to do it that way. I said to do it this way. But with your argument, you feel that you should be paid more because you can get more work done. But that's not how I told you to do the job. That's what I'm saying. When there's equipment available for all people to use, and you're supposed to be using the equipment, but you can get more done doing it your way. Your way is not correct. That's not the way you were told to do the job. But because you can do more.
Okay, look, you don't have to kick the dead horse. Let me answer your question. Number one, You do know car windshields can be put in place by one person, right?
Yes, I do. It's a
right. So
I literally had my car windshield changed out here. I know.
Stop. So because you have a policy in place, your policy adversely impacts your business model. And I'm telling you that because your policy adversely impacts your business model and to be more efficient and create more revenue for the business, what do you do as the business owner now?
Fire you.
Not what I said, because I didn't say I broke your rules. I said I'm coming to you. You're the business owner. And I'm telling you, there's a more efficient and effective way to make more revenue and get more done. What do you do as the business owner? Because as a business owner, you're not firing nobody. And if you do, you fucking doing bad business. So what do you do as the business owner? I've just told you, I'm your technician. What do you do?
I listen to you and I take it under consideration. And I see if everybody that I currently have employed can do it that way.
Okay, no, listen, stop. That's bad business as well.
Okay, how like you literally just told me that I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
No, listen, this is business. Now that you have identified who the leader is and who can come up with ideas to increase revenue for your business, you create a position for me in which I am supervisory over those people. So should those people get paid what I get paid?
No, absolutely not. But you're a supervisor.
And that is the fallacy of your argument, because that's what I'm saying when I say I can do more. You're talking about, oh, somebody's breaking a protocol. Nobody has to break a protocol. I'm telling you, there's no protocol when the job is to put the tire on the shelf. There's not. So you came up with another imaginary model. Okay, in your imaginary model, you have these machines, and these machines require 2 people and requires this, and this. And I say, okay, I've been working here for 3 months. I'm telling you that there is a better way to do this, sir. I know you own this business, and I come to you and tell you this will increase your revenue by this much. This will increase your efficiency and effectiveness by this much. You will be able to turn this many vehicles this fast. You have to consider what my expertise is, because I'm the technician out here doing this shit. And if I can teach everyone how to do that, you create a position for me. They shouldn't fucking get paid what I get paid. That is my point when I say I can do more. You're trying to argue something that I'm not fucking saying. And because I didn't say that, don't do that. Because I will have a counter every single time. I originally said there is no rules being broken. Like, there's a standard operating procedure in place. The job is to get the tires on the shelf. Yes, the company has tools that will allow weaker people to get the tire on the shelf. But right now, gas is $5 a gallon and the machine has to run. The company is hemorrhaging. And there's 5 people who need the gas and there's 5 people who don't need the gas. Those 5 people who need the gas, they're fucking going to part-time. Period. Because my job as a business owner is to make money. That's a fact. Hence, when I talk about upper level things, just using your mind, if you're just using your mind and we're all sitting here using your mind, if she can type faster than me, guess what? She should get paid more than I get paid if she can type faster than me. That's just a fact. If we're in that type of field where she's typing 30 more words a minute than I am, she should definitely get paid more than me because her productivity is outpacing mine. That's a fact. That's a simple fact of the matter. Now, if I decide I want to go take a class, learn how to type better or faster, whatever I do, if I start using dictation, whatever I do, so be it. But as long as she outperforms me, she should get paid better than I get paid. We all meet the minimum requirements to work here. However, now we're talking about revenue. And as the business owner, if I could get away with hiring people who effectively can maintain the pace of my business at 83 cents on the dollar, everyone would be a woman. And because that's not the truth, that's not how it pans out. Hence the fallacy of the gender wage gap. That's an unfortunate fact.
Well, at least you say it's unfortunate.
I mean, like, what else is it?
I understand that you love the idea of it being a fallacy. I understand that you truly believe that it is a fallacy and that you believe that it's a fact. It's not a fallacy. It's been proven with empirical data in what I believe. And I really think that ethics play a big part into this. And it irks the shit out of me that ethics are not discussed when we're discussing something like this, because it is not ethical in business to get rid of people or pay people less when they're already employed doing something for you.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay, wait. Number one, not what I said. In comparison, you're wrong. Because if you can't do the job, you should get paid less than the person who can.
We're not discussing people who can't do the job.
Okay, so
we're discussing people who are doing the same job that are different genders that are getting paid differently because men get paid more.
Where does that exist? Where does that exist? You can't prove it. You where? Name it. Outright name it. Name the fortune. Name the CEO. Name the female CEO who has the same education level, same tenure, same experience that get paid less than a man. Name it. It's false. It doesn't exist.
Well, we can't ever, and also the fact is we can't ever really know because nobody will actually reveal their real pay.
Okay, once again, it is a talking point. It is a talking point that was created for women's right and feminism, the boom. That's what it does not exist. It's hence it's a fallacy. Like so many people hold it to be true because they've heard it, because it's a talking point. If you're not talking about the factors that created it, you're not having a real conversation at that point. So yes, you can take this number and compare it to this number and make your statement. So we're talking about 100% of the workforce split into 60-40. 40% are men, 60% are women. Okay, so now we're having a conversation. All right, so you take those 40%, add them all together, get the average. That's 100%. You take the top 40 women, add them together, boom. Those things would be equal. It's the bottom part that throws the number off.
Okay. I feel like, honestly, I'm kind of, and I mean this is in a negative way. I feel like I'm being talked in circles. And I, like, once again, don't mean it in a negative.
Okay, let me ask you this. What's the most important job on the planet to you?
A therapist.
How often do you think people should go to therapy? You know what? Not even think. Typically, how often do people go to therapy?
Once a week.
So people go to therapy once a week. So say the therapist makes $200 an hour.
Okay.
You go once a week. So that's how much the therapist should get paid, right?
Sure. Call it 100 for easy math.
All right. So the therapist should get paid $100 per hour for seeing said patient. We're cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the therapist sees 10 patients. Therapist is making $1,000 a day. Right?
Right.
Therapist is making $365,000 a year. Right?
Sure.
Because that's what you put on the therapist.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's more important than the therapist to me?
Who?
The garbage man. Because I'm not going to therapy. So the value that I place on the garbage man and you place on the therapist aren't equal. And now you want to have an ethical conversation. But I'm going to convince you that you need to see the garbage man more frequently than you need to see that fucking therapist. So I think the garbage man should get paid equally what the therapist gets paid.
Oh, I completely agree.
So
Because they both come around the exact same amount of time.
No, they don't, because the garbage man comes twice a week. So now garbage men should make upwards of $700,000 a year on your fucking model.
I'm moving to your neighborhood because they don't come twice a week here. I thought they only came once a week everywhere here.
No.
My apologies. But for argument's sake, may I be allowed to say that the garbage man comes once a week?
For argument's sake, no. Okay, yes. But how many houses does the garbage man service?
That's my thing. That's exactly where I'm going with it. The garbage man services a bunch of different houses, and he does a job that takes him approximately 1 to 2 minutes.
See, now you're putting value on other things. I said the most important job to you was therapy, but the most important job to me is garbage. And I'm gonna argue the garbage man should get paid the same $100 the therapist gets paid, but because the garbage man ain't seeing 10 patients an hour, they're seeing 100 fucking houses an hour. The garbage man should be getting paid infinitely more at that point. So we already know nothing is equal across the board. And because that, understand that your ability to perform the task that your business is designed to do is what earns you and makes you revenue.
Okay, can I say this to you? How long do you have to go to college or get training to become a garbage person?
It depends on what type of garbage you're removing, since you want to get specific.
No, that we're not talking about a job that is very specific. We're talking about what we were talking about. The person who's going down the street,
listen,
picking up
a therapist. Listen, before you go there, a therapist doesn't have to go to college. That's not true. So, but I don't even want you to go down that road. Therapists do not have to go to college. That is not what therapy is. Yep. So I don't even want you to go down that road.
My argument has been refuted completely because you're just making shit up. So I'm going to concede.
Okay. Can you become a certified life coach?
Yeah, but you still have to have a certification from somewhere.
Is a cert a college degree?
I don't know.
No, it is not.
Because you have to take classes to get
a
certified.
Cert is not a college degree.
Okay, I'm down with it.
You can be certified in most things in 3 to 6 months. About the same amount of time you would have to learn the proper disposal techniques of wherever fucking waste management establishment you work at.
Okay, that's fine, but a certified life coach is not getting paid what a therapist who's gone to school for
once
6
again,
to 8 years.
You said a therapist. So now we're talking about education. Okay, so if I have more education, I should get paid more.
Okay, D, you win. You win.
But that's your argument. You're arguing.
It doesn't matter because you're making up shit.
What did I make up?
What I say?
Stop. What did I make up?
You literally started talking about how some shit about how now you have to have specialized this and classes. I said a regular ass therapist and a regular ass garbage person.
Okay, so a regular therapist can literally be a certified life coach that works in the office for therapy. What are you talking about? I didn't make up shit. That's a fact. That is a fact. It's like a person with the Harvard degree gets paid more than the person with a degree from fucking ECU. But the person who graduated from ECU could have graduated with a 4.0, and the person who graduated from Harvard could have had straight fucking C's. But because you see a degree, you want to pay them more because of where they came from. That's your argument. I'm saying I'm not having that conversation, because now you're getting into education, you're getting into experience, you're getting into tenure. All of these things being considered, everyone is equal. And so if I go to Harvard and she goes to Harvard, we're both Harvard educated. We are going to be offered the same amount of money at a position unless she doesn't negotiate as well as I negotiate. And if she says, hey, I plan on having kids in 5 years, and I say, well, I don't want to have no motherfucking kids. I'm here to work. Who's going to get paid more? If she has to drop her kids off, if she say, I can't come into the office until 6:30 because the daycare doesn't open up until 6. I can't stay after 5:30 because the daycare closes at 6. So she can put in 12-hour days, maybe. I'm here putting in 16-hour days. And you think she should get paid what I get paid? You've lost your fucking mind. You have lost your mind. Because we're both making a salary. So if I can negotiate a better fucking salary because I'm available more, she shouldn't get paid what I get paid. That's a fact.
You're right. You're right on that one.
That's what I'm talking about when I said the factors weren't considered when you're having the dialogue. You're just talking about some raw numbers that was taken from somewhere. And then you add into the fact that you're not accounting for science, technology, engineering, and math being the top fields that men are in. The men who are in science, engineering, technology, and math, they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And they dominate that field. So the top of the top is that. That's not being accounted for when you're talking about the gender wage gap. Like, no, that's not. That's why I say fallacy. That is literally why it is a fallacy, because you're talking about two things that don't equally compare. The moment that I'm telling you, like, listen, I can put in 16-hour work days. I'm gonna need $150,000 a year. Shorty shows up. She says, I need $150,000 a year. They give her $150,000 a year. After working for a year, when it's time for my review, she's not getting paid what I get paid because I'm renegotiating. I'm not settling for any. No, hell no. She don't do what I do. She don't nearly do what I do here. I'm here at 4:30 every morning. I'm leaving here at 9 o'clock at night. And she gets paid what I get paid? I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I'm going to your rival. Pay me more. And then when it's time for her to renegotiate and she says, well, I want to get paid what he gets paid. Well, no, but you don't do what he do. So we gave you a fair wage when you came here. And then when women entered the workforce, by and large, everyone was getting paid the same. And then once the realization hit, oh, these motherfucking men are still doing 70% of the work. Okay, no, like, so women they stuck in retail. Like, it is what it is. Most women hold jobs in retail, government, and the services and shit. That's not where men typically hold jobs at. Like, how many female mechanics do you see? Like, mechanics make upwards of $85 an hour everywhere. If you pull up somewhere, the mechanic costs $85 an hour. Hence, when they run a diagnostic, that's why they charging you $90 plus an hour. They got to pay the fucking mechanic. He went to school. He learned how to do it. She goes to school. She learns how to do it. She can't turn out 10 cars an hour. She can only turn out 7. 8 if he decides to help her. Well, if I got to help you, bitch, I want to get paid more. Fuck.
What in the fuck, monkey?
Do you understand the logic? Like, do you
I understand your logic? And
listen. It's not my logic.
It is.
This is what I want you to do. No, listen. It's really not my logic. I am telling you, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Here, let me add you. Much of what we hear about the plight of American women is false. Some faux facts have been repeated so often they are almost beyond the reach of critical analysis. Though they are baseless, these canards have become the foundation of congressional debates the inspiration for new legislation, and the focus of programs. You understand? Like this has been debunked in real life, not between me and you. It's been fucking debunked. This is, I just don't want you to be running around here having the dialogue. I choose to not engage in the dialogue for a reason. But you brought it up the other day, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's do that, because that would be interesting. So you can say what typically is said, and I don't have to just go on a tangent talking about how fucking crazy bitches is for even thinking none of this shit.
Man, I thought we was going to get through a whole podcast without you using the word bitch, but you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, bro.
Why would I do that? That's my brand. Fuck out of here.
It was just fun. It's still funny. Because if I'm gonna listen back, I think that was actually the first time you said it. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun argument to have.
Okay.
I still think I'm right. I still think you're wrong.
Okay,
but
listen.
I will listen.
This ain't for you. This is for my podcast listeners.
Okay.
No matter how many times this wage gap claim is decisively refuted by economists, it always comes back. The bottom line is the 23-cent gender pay gap is simply the difference between the average earnings of all men and women working. It does not account for differences in occupation, positions, education, job tenure, or hours worked per week. And that was written by some white folks, so they not accounting for race. And therein lies the issue. There is definitely, if motherfucker want to have a conversation about the racial wage gap, I'm here for it. Because by and large, the amount of women who make up the woman part of the workforce are women of color and black women. And then when you have that conversation about the racial wage gap, it makes even more sense of why there is a wage gap. You go to
another point, because that one would be you and I just agreeing the entire damn podcast anyway.
But understand that why the gender wage gap is a fallacy. If you can recognize that it's based on race and not gender, never mind intersectionality, white women make more money than black women. So that would be a fair comparison. How much money does a black woman make in the field, and how much money does a white woman make in the field? How much money does a black man make in the field? How much money does a white man make in the field? How much money does the Hispanic man make in the field? And how much money does the white man make in the field? That would be an accurate representation of the conversation. And then everybody would be like, oh, cool. But this thing that you're arguing is literally some false flag shit designed in particular by the feminist agenda to create that conflict. So everything ain't focused on race and ethnicity and who actually is in power. You're literally creating their argument. You're like, oh no, we're going to focus on this. Well, that's not the focus. That's a fact. Wasn't even trying to go down that road, just to debunk the gender pay gap myth. It's a myth. It's never been true since women have been allowed to be in the workforce. It's never been true. Once upon a time, women were not in the workforce. Men went to war, died in record numbers. Women got a taste of what the good life. They wanted to make money. When those men came back, they were on par with the women, period. As time went on, the business models began to shift. As those business models shifted, those men who understood, now that I'm standing here side by side with this woman, I can produce more, so I feel like I should be paid more. They were properly compensated. As the work shifted and became more cerebral, women took a jump, men were left behind. When men got on the train to start using their brains as well, they once again became more fucking productive. Because now not only do I have to program, and I can also pick up the server by myself. She cannot pick up the server alone. She cannot place the server in the rack by herself. No matter how much programming she knows, no matter how many cable classes she's taken, no matter how good she is at splicing fucking fiber, she can't put the server in the rack alone. So if it takes two of her to put the server in the rack and one of me, I should get paid what both them hoes is getting paid. Because I can be here alone and do this job. So if she gets paid $50,000 a year, I want 100. Because you got to pay two of them hoes $50,000 a year to get the job done that I do by myself. I need to make 100,000 a year. End statement. Because if I don't come in here to put the server in the fucking rack, the shit's just going to sit there and we not going to have no motherfucking connectivity nowhere. So now money's getting lost. Revenue's getting lost because we got to wait. She can't put the motherfucking server in the rack. Come on now. What's she going to do? Put a note on it? Tell me to put it back in the morning? That's your argument. Your argument is no, like we should all get paid equally. No, we shouldn't. No. If she could do what I could do, she should. But if she can't physically do what I can do, she should not get paid equally. Period. We both program. We both wire. We both troubleshoot. We both splice and fiber. We both fucking running coaxial. We both doing all of these things. But she can't pick the fucking server up to start doing any of that. She can't put it in the rack. It requires two of her to do my job. The moment I found that out, we were all getting paid $50,000 a year. And the moment I realized that you got to put both these broads on shift at the same time, and then I got to take the other shift by myself, I want what both them hoes is getting, or I'm going to another fucking company. Then what you going to do? Because I'm taking all these servers out the fucking rack, leaving them on the floor, and then leaving. And we'll see how that works.
That's
petty as
motherfucker.
Petty as fuck. Petty as fuck.
Anyway, this has been fun, but I'm tired now, and I would like Mookie to do his thing so I can go to sleep.
Oh man,
Mookie, do the thing.
Listen, I have nothing against y'all ladies, y'all keep doing y'all thing. Handle y'all business. Like, listen, my mom is one of the hardest working folks I know. And what she does for a living, she outpaces everyone she's working with. So she should definitely be paid as she deserves to be paid. Everyone who can't do, if you have an excuse of why you can't do it or why you need help or why you don't understand something, all you're doing is making fucking excuses and proving the point. That's it. That's it. Period, point blank. Just so y'all know, just so you realize, as a case manager, my mother was doing other people's cases and her cases. So she got her just dessert. When
your mom is awesome, and that's different.
So
like she a whole ass superhuman. So that's different.
Like my point, there are outliers. There are people who can do, and they should be paid accordingly. Period. So you get the position, you have the education, you got the experience, you got the tenure, you have the ability. Yes, those people get paid. That's just a fact. Because it's not good business to do it any other way. And the point of all of this is business. This is not about fairness. Fear is a weather condition and a place you take your girlfriend to hold her hand on the Ferris wheel. Period. It's not about being fair. This is about business. My job is to make revenue as a business owner. If it takes two people to perform something one person can do, and I can get away with paying one person $90,000, they will be grateful instead of me paying two people $60,000. Listen to the math of that. I have to pay these two people $60,000 based on their minimum qualifications. I can pay one guy $90,000 and he can do both of their jobs. I'm always taking the $90,000 guy. Always, every time. I'm not hiring them 2 chicks. It's not happening.
Okay.
Business. This is about business. Right. This is about business.
You're right. Somebody give D's mom a raise right now. Right now.
That's all this is about. The whole conversation is about business. So everybody, all in your feelings, like, oh my God, D don't think we should get paid. Well, nope, you shouldn't get paid if you can't do everything that I could do. Just a fact. And listen, that's for men. Like I like we're having the conversation about gender. If there's a dude at work and he can't lift what I can lift, and us lifting something is required in the process. Oh, when it's time to renegotiate, that's being brought up too. Because ain't no fucking way he should get paid what I get paid either. Because if I got to do my job and then help him do his, I'm gonna need some of that. Go ahead and run me the check. Show me the money.
Speaking of show me the money, Mookie,
What up?
I want to go to bed. I love y'all to death. Y'all some of my favorite people on this planet. I want to go to bed. I'm tired.
You're the reason we on this late.
Hey, I know. It's my fault.
Exactly.
It's
And
my
you
fault.
Go to bed because you don't got no point to prove.
What? Okay. I'll
This
allow
has
it.
been
Whatever.
the No Filter Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, dislike, follow, subscribe, share the video, hit that little bell notification so you can be up to date on all the shenanigans. And again, we about this piece.